Oh boy. It's pink. I gotta be honest. I like it. I like it a lot. The Endorphin Edge is the next big trail shoe from Saucony, whose Endorphin Road series have been killing it this year. What I'm assuming was the continuation of the since recalled Endorphin Trail from a few years back, the Endorphin Edge takes what was great about the Saucony Exodus Ultra and makes it even better in this lighter, faster form. The Endorphin Edge is a colorful and bold shoe featuring a super bouncy and resilient Power Run PB midsole, which will feel super familiar to those who've run in any of the Endorphin series. The upper is a super light synthetic mesh with welded overlays, a thin gusseted tongue held down by thinner laces. The wider toe box has a welcome feel, and the rugged PowerTrack outsole does a great job on dry surfaces to guarantee purchase. Oh yeah, and there's a Carbitex carbon plate in there too. Just in case you needed another reason to consider the Endorphin Edge. All in all, this shoe packs a punch. And since my first run in the Endorphin Edge, featured in my last trail tested video, I've logged another 80 or so fun-filled miles in these bad boys, and I'm liking them a lot. As you can tell, I have a lot of thoughts on the Saucony Endorphin Edge, most of them good. Let's dive in.
Ginger Runner.
What is up, everybody? Ethan Newberry, the Ginger Runner, here for another Ginger Runner review. I'm excited about this one because it is a fun shoe from Saucony. It is the Endorphin Edge. Da-da-da-da! This is their Carbitex carbon-plated trail runner of madness and goodness. It is super fun, and I'm excited to dive into this review. Of course, before I get into this, I have to point out that these shoes were provided for review by Running Warehouse. I'm under no obligation to say anything positive or negative about this product. I'm not financially compensated in any way by Saucony for anything that I say in this review. All opinions are my own. No one has to approve this video. You're the first to see it. Give yourself a pat on the back. And let's dive in. I like to start with the things that I like. So let's do that. The upper. This upper is actually really great because it's thin, it's light, it's not too overwhelming, and it has a little bit of give while still providing a bit of protection. It's also holding up pretty good, better than I anticipated just based off of its thinness. It's fairly breathable. There's also some nice structural overlays and lacing connection points that provide a bit more structural stability. There are a couple of things I'll mention in one of the dislikes about some of the upper materials, but right now, this mesh is great. It makes for a light and airy feel, which keeps this shoe nimble and fast feeling and light underfoot, which, just all contributes to a fun, fast feeling shoe. Power Run PB midsole. Needs a couple more vowels in there, but I'll forgive them because it feels so damn good underfoot. Same midsole that they're using in a lot of their Endorphin Road shoes. I'm so glad that they carried it over to the trail version here. It's bouncy, it's cushioned, it's very resilient, and with the Carbitex plate, which I mentioned there in the intro, this thing has a bit of snap. Not too much structural rigidity to keep it from being fun on the trails. As you can see, it's actually opened up quite a bit since I first ran in these shoes, but I'm really liking the Power Run PB midsole. It's super squishy. You can, just see me trying to squish it. It feels good under my fingers, but it feels even better underfoot. Does a great job of being cushioned, soft, comfortable, yet bouncy and responsive to keep that effort fast. It's a great, great feeling midsole. Dry grip. So their PowerTrack outsole, there's a lot of power being talked about in this shoe, is good, specifically on dry surfaces. So if we're talking dry single track, technical terrain, these big lugs, the chevron shape, the outsole of rubber, it works quite well and provides a bit of protection. So the Carbitex carbon plate works as a protective element, as does the PowerTrack outsole. I want to emphasize dry terrain because I don't think it necessarily works well in wet terrain. I'll talk about that in one of my dislikes. But right now, in the height of summer, it's super hot and dry here. These are fantastic, and I think these will work in all sorts of race conditions, minus weather. And finally, I gotta commend them on the looks. I think this is a damn good looking shoe. When I first opened the box, I was super surprised to see the Saucony went with all pink. Didn't necessarily expect that. I like it. I actually really dig it. I've gotten more comments on this shoe while I'm wearing it out on the trails than any other shoe that I've worn in recent memory. People actually saying like, whoa, those shoes are awesome, or what shoes are those? So definitely gonna be a head turner, if anything. But I really dig the pink. It's growing on me. Yeah. It's fun. That being said, it's not all dinner tables covered in croissants, cheese, and European snacks and drinks while you consume UTMB content and dream of Alps traverses. There are a couple of things that I dislike about the Saucony Endorphin Edge. Let's get to those now. Wet grip. So I did not necessarily have this problem in the Exodus Ultra, which I also reviewed very recently with the PowerTrack outsole. This shoe does not necessarily provide some great wet traction. I experienced that in my very first run out of the box, which is recorded on Trail Tested, which is one of the last videos that I just posted. You can go watch it. You can watch my first experience, my first impressions. I ran into multiple issues where this shoe just wanted to slide on tons of surfaces. Power Track did not do well in wet conditions. It does do great in dry conditions. So that is where this shoe excels. I just wanted to point that out. Not everyone will be running in the rain. Those of you in drier climates, you're going to have tons of fun. Just, hope it doesn't rain. Durability. So this was a concern as soon as I pulled them out of the box because of the lighter upper, because of the materials that are more race ready. I will say that the overall durability of the shoe is already a concern. I have about 85, 86 miles on it, and there's already lamination coming off on the toe box. Some of the stitching is sort of fraying at this point. There's some fraying in the material that's just below the Power Track outsole. So there are material issues that I'm running into. I will say the Power Run PB midsole, though, holding up great. The Carbitex plate has a bit more flex in it than it did right out of the box. What I've noticed is that they do want to flex more over time than other carbon plates that I've encountered. So there are some material choices here that are suffering the more I wear the shoe, but there's others that are actually doing just fine. So I just wanted to point that out. And finally, I have to point this out because it's kind of a deal breaker for some people. It's the price. It's a $200 shoe. It's a very expensive shoe for a trail shoe. Does have the carbon plate. Does have this outsole that, is great in dry conditions and the super light minimal upper. So it'll be a great shoe for many, but man, that price point kind of puts it out of reach of a lot. So for a shoe that is super fun and one that I will certainly be recommending here by the end of the review, spoilers abound, there's a huge caveat, and that's that it's an expensive frickin' shoe. But that is pretty much it for dislikes. So let's get to the breakdown where I distilled down all of my ideas and all of my thoughts into 5 major criteria: the build quality, comfort, fit, price, and looks. Starting with build quality. So this is a concern. Some of the materials they're using, as I mentioned, are great. The Power Run PB midsole, fantastic. The Carbitex plate has a bit more bend, a little less snap than right out of the box. The upper materials, specifically the welds around the toe box, beginning to come apart at the seams there. Some of the seams are beginning to fray. There's just some material choices that I wish were different. This is their race-ready, top-tier trail shoe. Why are they skimping on some of the materials and the build quality? Comfort. This shoe is super comfortable. You wouldn't expect it from a shoe that's designed to be carbon-plated, fast, and snappy. But I would say the Endorphin Speed for the road kind of transition to the trail, so it's kind of the great do-it-all without too much emphasis on snap and stiffness. That is where the comfort in the shoe truly lies, is in that Power Run PB midsole, which just gives you a great ride. Fit. I actually got a good fit out of this shoe. I think the toe box is actually more voluminous than I would have expected. I was thinking it was going to be a super precise kind of Euro fitting shoe. It's not. It's actually more accommodating than I expected. The laces do a good job locking down, and the heel and the ankle lock down pretty good as well. So fit's pretty dang good. Price, I already mentioned, $200. It's pretty expensive. And looks, I like the looks. I think it's bold. I think people are definitely going to be turning heads. I don't mind the pink. I don't mind the all pink. I think it's super fun. It's cool. Dig it. Bringing us to our conclusion. This shoe is awesome. I'm truly having a good time in it, and that started day one in the trail tested video. So again, go watch that video. You get to see my first initial thoughts, my very first run of the shoes. Never put them on before. Those thoughts have not changed much. Most of them were immensely positive, and my experience in that first run was like, this is a pretty awesome pair of shoes. That's still the case. I'm keeping it in rotation well into the fall for sure. I'm basically going to try to figure out how long this shoe will last before it really begins to fall apart. I am apprehensive about wet weather conditions and how it performs on wet surfaces, and the price. So those are the two things that sort of give me pause. I had to make sure that I let you know while simultaneously letting you know that this shoe I think will work great on race day, tempo day, adventure day, or hell, you just want to go out into the trails and shred. This shoe will do you good. Bringing us to our final criteria. Is the Saucony Endorphin Edge a buy, try, or a why? It's a buy. I don't say buy often for shoes that are at this price point. I just have to say it has been super fun to run in, and I'm really loving what Saucony is doing with the Endorphin line. I have their road shoes, their new ones, in rotation right now, so expect reviews of those here in the coming weeks and months. But man, the Endorphin Edge surprised me. I'm really liking it. So bye. And that, my friends, is it for today's review. So the table's now turned to you. Have you run in the Endorphin Edge, or is this a shoe that interests you at all? Does the price point sort of deter you from even considering them? It's high, I know. If you're a GR crew member, you have discounts that you can use on Running Warehouse, of course. But if you want more information, or if you want to get a pair of the Saucony Endorphin Edge for yourself, I have links in the description. They'll take you over to Running Warehouse. They are affiliate links. They cost you nothing, but they do help the channel out. You can get all of your running gear using those links. And again, it helps us, but cost you nothing. If you like this review, of course, like, favorite, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell. We have an amazing community called the GR Crew. They are runners from around the world, athletes of all abilities and levels, just like you, running huge events, just like you, going through the same things that you're going through. If you would like to join that community and chat with us about gear or races that you have coming up or anything in regards to running, please do. Head on over to patreon.com/thegingerrunner. All tiers get access to some super fun perks on the back end, including our daily live stream and a whole bunch of fun perks, including the discount codes and blah, blah, blah. I pitch this every single review. At this point, you clearly all know. That's it. Thanks all. We hope you're getting out there training hard, racing harder, and partying the hardest I know I am. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.